Finally, to conclude with a last question, religion, as it is written in your work, in this report of the UNDP, in this report, it is the foundation of Arab life. And you and the other scholars working at this report say that religion has a vital role in the public and private spheres in the Arab region, in the Arab context. So I would like to ask you, what does the future relationship between religion and politics look like in the future? So how could these relations incentivize the human development in a positive way, hopefully? And what is the role of religion in transforming Arab societies in the future? So if they could have a positive or negative effect, and what do you think in this concerning this aspect?
This is not a simple question. This is quite a complicated one. Probably because the Middle East has been the cradle, birthplace of the basic religions, people care about religion. I know that sometimes even colleagues of mine who are very distinguished in their levels, sometimes when you reach a certain point in discussing religion, they stop being rational. There are things that you cannot touch about religion. Now, if you go lower down, it is if the situation is even more. And I mentioned during my talk that if I go to a country, a village, with an imam or a priest, who might be half literate, might be half educated, people will probably listen to him more than they listen to me, even in a field where I'm supposed to be an expert. So that shows the place of religion in Middle Eastern society. And that allows us to take care, not to, as one of the questions that was raised during the discussion, just forget about religion. We cannot. It is part of many people's identity, rightly or wrongly. Now, we can do two things. Not impose religion in everything. Separate actually between religion and governance. Governance is running daily life. And you don't have to wait for the word of God to see whether you open the traffic lights or you switch them off, right? It's just a simple question. And number two, just keep religion as a private aspect of life. People can do whatever they like. They can go to the mosque, they can go to the church, do whatever they like in their own beliefs, but not allow that to dominate policies. And I say that especially now, after the Muslim Brotherhood having been in power for just over a year. And we know now that that year was catastrophic. I mean, they pushed the country back. They were not democratic at all. Not only that, they messed up daily life, but at a certain time, I think in 2 days, Morsi lost 7 of his advisors. And they were, all of them, people who were chosen because they were religious. And actually at AUC, we invited one of these advisors to talk. And he was very, very critical of the Muslim Brotherhood president because he didn't know what he was doing. And sometimes when he knew what he was doing, the office of the Supreme Guide was very separated from running the country, just to give him theoretical instructions that had very little to do with the problem at hand. So one important benefit of the Arab Spring, not only that the Muslim Brotherhood have reached power, as I said, with ballots rather than bullets through elections and not violently, but also they proved that they lacked experience in governance and they created lots of problems. So that reinforces my idea that there should be a separation between religion, private life, and politics, which is the domain of governance and should really depend on the challenges on the spot and the trial and the error, not just waiting for instructions coming from above. I hope that the Arab world will reach that situation at a certain time. We have seen a recent example of the excesses of religion when Saudi women were not allowed to drive. Now, there is a sort of big change. I mean, for us outside, women not allowed to drive, that seems to be surprising and weird, exactly, weird. But the issue, as I know from many Saudi friends, has to be debated and imposed because this is why they are waiting until June for women to carry out actually the decisions that has been taken to drive. And if you talk to some of what we call the religious police, they have their reasons and their justification for why women shouldn't be driving. So that example shows that the role of religion in society, in Arab society, is very problematic. You can't cancel it out, but at the same time, you shouldn't allow it to dominate all aspects of life. To the second part of your question, there are lots of issues in religion that can allow us to use it to help development. The emphasis on honesty, the emphasis on lack of corruption, the emphasis on efficiency. You know a hadith about Umar ibn al-Khattab who went once in a mosque and saw somebody who is staying in the mosque all the time and said to him, you know, I see you staying in the mosque all the time. How do you eat? Where do you get your money to eat? He said, my brother gives me money to eat. He works and keeps me going. Umar ibn al-Khattab, who was the second caliph, said to him, your brother is more pious than you are. We can quote a hadith like that to show the importance of work, of being productive, of not just being lazy and staying to carry out what you think is a worship to be closer to God. There is a big discussion in some Arab countries now, which are going through crisis, whether when you don't have enough money, do you use all your savings to go on pilgrimage or get most of the savings to educate your children? And I think we need to open up to these issues and use the good examples of religion to reinforce development and development effort and indeed create good citizenship.
Thank you, Professor Korany. From these reflections, it is really clear that on this work, we will be able to find a lot of interesting insights to understand what is required to reach development in the Arab world. So I would like to thank you again, personally and on behalf of the EGIC, and we would like to see you again here visiting us in the next occasion.
Thank you, Maged, very much.
Thank you.
I hope that many of my Egyptian students will see examples like you and make it as you did.
Thanks.